You wake up to the sound of a delivery truck reversing somewhere behind the grocery store parking lot. For a second, you forget where you are. Then you feel the cold air, the stiff back seat, the jacket you rolled into a pillow, the fog on the inside of the windows. And you remember. This isn't a road trip. This is home. Your entire life fits inside a 20-year-old sedan parked between a dumpster and a loading dock. In your wallet, there is exactly $23.47. Not after bills, not after rent, not after groceries. $23.47 total. Your entire net worth fits inside your pocket. 10 years later, another number appears on a screen. Net worth, $1,002,614. No celebration, no cameras, no champagne, just an ordinary Tuesday morning and an ordinary email arriving while you're standing in line waiting for coffee. The strange part isn't becoming a millionaire. The strange part is how invisible the journey looked while it was happening, because nobody sees the years in between, and the decision that changes everything happens long before the money ever arrives. Stay until the end, because the choice you make during your third winter changes the trajectory of your entire life. And most people facing the same situation make the opposite decision. If you're tired of fake millionaire advice and want to understand how ordinary decisions create extraordinary wealth, hit the like button and subscribe, because on this channel we study the systems behind financial freedom, not just the results. The first winter is survival. You shower at a gym membership that costs less than your phone bill. You park in different places every night because staying in one place too long attracts attention. You learn which gas stations have the cleanest bathrooms. You learn which grocery stores throw away sandwiches at closing time. Most importantly, you learn exactly where every dollar goes. Because when your entire life depends on $20 lasting until Friday, budgeting stops being a finance strategy and becomes a survival skill. One night while charging your phone inside a coffee shop, you notice something. The owner locks the doors at 9. The employees leave by 9:30. But the vending machine by the entrance stays there working all night. You watch 3 customers buy drinks after closing. You do the math. The machine made money while everyone else went home. That idea follows you back to your car. Weeks later, you buy your first vending machine for $700. It isn't impressive. The paint is scratched. One button sticks. The previous owner wants it gone. You place it inside a tire shop for a percentage of sales. The first month it earns $137 profit. You stare at the number on your banking app for several minutes. Not because of the amount, because of what it proves. For the first time in your life, money showed up without requiring your time in exchange. The amount was small. The idea was enormous. Most people spend their raises. You bought another machine, then another, then another. 3 years later, your vending route generates more than your job. You don't quit, you reinvest. Because you've learned something school never taught you. Income pays bills. Assets buy freedom. Around year 4, your friends start upgrading their lives. New trucks, luxury apartments, weekend trips, monthly payments everywhere. You keep driving the same car. You keep living in the same small apartment. You keep buying assets nobody wants to talk about at parties. Laundry machines, storage units, a small parking lot beside an office building. Boring things, reliable things, things people use whether the economy is good or bad. You discover a strange truth about wealth. Interesting businesses attract attention. Boring businesses attract cash flow. By year 7, something changes. Not in your bank account, in your thinking. You stop asking, how much money can I make? And start asking, how many problems can I solve without being physically present? That question changes everything. Because wealth isn't built by working harder forever. It's built by creating systems that continue working after you stop. A vending machine solves thirst. A storage unit solves space. A laundromat solves inconvenience. A parking lot solves frustration. Every solved problem sends a small payment back to the owner. Most people walk past these systems every single day without noticing them. You started seeing ownership everywhere. And once you see ownership, you can never unsee it. The $1,000,000 moment arrives quietly. Of course it does. You're standing in line at a coffee shop deciding whether paying an extra dollar for oat milk is worth it. Your phone vibrates. Quarterly portfolio summary. You almost ignore it. You open the email. Total net worth, $1,002,614. You read the number twice. Outside, traffic continues moving. Someone argues about a parking ticket. The barista calls another name. Nobody looks at you. Nobody knows. The city that watched you sleep in a car 10 years earlier has no idea what just happened. And for a moment you expect fireworks, a feeling, a transformation. Nothing comes. Because the truth is the millionaire wasn't created that morning. The millionaire was created years earlier, on freezing nights when quitting would have been easier, on weekends spent learning instead of escaping, on paydays when investing won arguments against spending. On ordinary Tuesdays nobody remembers. The invisible years created the visible result. You collect your coffee, walk back to your car, drive away. The world looks exactly the same, but somewhere between the parking lot and the first traffic light, you realize something important. The distance between sleeping in your car and becoming a millionaire wasn't luck. It wasn't talent. It wasn't timing. It was ownership. Small pieces at first, then larger ones, then enough pieces working together that eventually your life changed while you were busy living it. Most people want the million-dollar moment. Very few people want the invisible years that create it, and that's why so few people ever arrive there. So here's the question. If you knew nobody would see your sacrifices for the next 10 years, would you still make them? Let me know in the comments, because your answer to that question might tell you exactly where you'll be 10 years from now.